Hi there, and welcome to the Paula Fiscal Show. We have begun a series of guests and shows to talk about finances and the entrepreneurs in the city. And one of the people that I have today is an insurance expert. Now, before you turn the dial, I want you to make sure that you listen very carefully what I'm going to be talking about with Randy Jackson, who is an insurance expert. Now, for those of you that think you don't need any insurance, think about how at this stage in your life you may need to get some end-of-life insurance so that you don't burden your children with some of the costs that are involved for your funeral expenses. Or if you are a young person and you have 2 or 3 children and you don't want your children to be burdened with a big amount of debt for a mortgage, you might want to get mortgage insurance. There's a lot of different types of insurance. There's earthquake insurance, there's general liability insurance, there's workers' comp insurance. This insurance industry is not something that just popped up overnight. There are so many different kinds and different types of insurances that you can get. So Randy's going to tell us a little bit about the different types that he represents and which are some of the companies that he's worked with. So once again, thank you for joining the Paula Fiscal Show. This show airs at 3 o'clock p.m. every Sunday. We're also on Facebook, and we have a Twitter account at Paula Fiscal TV. So please listen very carefully and stay informed. We're going to start this session with Randy Jackson. Now, Randy Jackson attended San Jose State University, and he has been in the industry for about 3 years. Now, before you say, oh, that's not long enough to be an expert, let me tell you, this young man did a lot of background and did a lot of research before he got into this industry. And he's going to share with us a little bit about how he got here. So welcome very much to the show, Randy.
Hey, how
Tell
are
us where you went to school.
you? I went to school at San Jose State University. Graduated 1996 with a degree in criminal justice. So originally I wanted to be a police officer, and so I never became a cop. I ended up working with at-risk youth for about 18 years, and I did
You
that
were actually a probation officer, is that right?
probation. I worked in the probation.
You worked in
field.
the probation department.
Yes, exactly. And so during that time, a friend of mine, who I also was an ex-bodybuilder years ago, and a friend of mine presented me with some information that I needed to know. And so I was a little skeptical at first because I never thought about the financial service industry or whatnot. And so I met with her, and she rambled on for a long period of time. And one of the things that struck me, she told me about insurance. And initially, I said, I don't need to know anything about insurance. But Randy, the insurance I'm talking about is called living benefits. And what that entails is that you have a life insurance policy, but you can draw from your policy in the event that you incur any kind of critical, chronic, or terminal illness.
Now, wait a minute. Is that called term?
It's a term policy. It's a term policy, but it's called living benefits.
Living benefits.
Living
So
benefits.
is this a new concept? Is that what
Yes,
you're telling us?
yes. When they passed Obamacare, one of the things with Obamacare, what they did also made changes to insurance companies. They allowed long-term care to be combined with life insurance, which is a game changer. And so it's a fairly new program concept, especially in California. And a lot of people really don't know about it.
So it's called long-term care and health insurance.
They allow long-term care to be combined with life insurance. And so what only a few companies offer long-term care with life insurance.
And what are the names of some of those companies?
Some of the companies are Transamerica, Nationwide. I think New York Life offers it also, but I primarily work with Nationwide and Transamerica.
So now this is different than what we see on television that they're offering.
Yes.
And they say if you call them up, you're going to be insured in 2 minutes or something?
A little bit different. So this concept, especially with Transamerica, they have a term product, which basically a term is it goes in increments of 5 years, 5, 10, 15, 20, up to 30 years. And so after that term, your insurance is expired. So what they did, a lot of times people think about term insurance and think about you only can collect once you pass. So what this concept is, you can collect while you're still living. So in an event that you have,
Give us an example. What do you mean by this?
Example is say tomorrow you have a policy and say tomorrow you have incurred cancer or heart attack. You can accelerate up to 90% of your benefits to you tax free. So for example, say you have a $500,000 policy, right? And say you incur cancer and it's pretty severe,
right?
And so you in $500,000 policy, say you get a note from the doctor, and they'll forward up to $450,000 to you tax free to do what you need with the funds. So whether you want to do alternative medicine, whether you want to pay off your bills or whatever, and it relieves a lot of burden from the families.
So then, this is more than a standard term life insurance.
It is.
This is an insurance policy that's called, again?
Living benefits.
Living benefits. So that's the key here.
Exactly.
It's called living benefits insurance. And you're right. It's a concept that not a lot of people have heard of, nor are familiar with it. And so what is being done for the outreach to let people know about this?
Well, people like myself are coming on the show and just spreading the news. We have, we make postings in the newspaper. We have seminars here and there. And so it'll be, everybody will eventually have it, but it's still a relatively new program. And we just, I'm coming on the show and a number of other people are doing outreach for us, spreading the word for us, these new programs that are offered to people in the community.
So now it's not going to be a mandatory insurance.
No, it's not mandatory.
Because health insurance is mandatory.
Exactly. This is life insurance, and it's an alternative.
And is there a big gap as to who is informed about this insurance right now? Is it our people? Is it your people? Who is it that's taking advantage of this insurance right now?
Basically everybody. I mean, basically whoever people like myself. It's not about racial, ethnic, different groups, but basically anybody in the industry are spreading the word. So a lot of times I ask people like my family members to get involved and spread the message and spread the word, because it's very important that you have this type of program. Because like the old way of insurance is mainly insurance when it's basically a benefit where you have insurance.
Where you only get paid if you die.
Yeah, your beneficiary.
So I call that death insurance.
Death insurance. This way, people don't run from it. So, when you hear like living benefits,
living benefits has a better sound
to it.
Not
final. It's not final.
It's not a final, because a lot of people don't want to talk about.
They don't want to talk about it. So no, I want to talk about it. I'm not dying tomorrow. I mean, of course, nobody plan on dying tomorrow, but with this, it's like have a softer approach. And there's also it's a situation where, especially you have kids, in the event that you sick, you incur illness, whatever, and you off work for a long period of time, what's going to happen to you? What's going to happen with your kids? What's going to happen with your mortgage or rent? How you going to pay for these bills? A lot of times, I know my the person that brought the information to me, she had that exact same situation happen to her. She had breast cancer, and she's a business owner. She owns a gym in South San Francisco, and she said, "Randy, I wish I would have had this information prior to getting sick, because once I had my surgery, I had to be at work the next week."
A lot of people are becoming aware of this insurance
slowly,
because other people didn't have it.
Exactly.
So this is an insurance that you hear about usually from someone that didn't have it and then got it afterwards.
Yes.
A pre-existing condition doesn't count?
Pre-existing condition, you probably wouldn't qualify. So basically, is
so the woman that had breast cancer wasn't able to get this insurance afterwards.
What happened? The good thing about with her, she was cancer-free for 6 years.
Okay.
And so she was able to finally get this type of coverage.
Okay, so then the pre-existing condition only applies for the first 5 years?
It depends on cancer. For cancer,
depends on the cancer.
Cancer. So if cancer, a lot of times they'll approve you if you're cancer-free for about 5 to 6 years, they'll offer coverage for you.
I see. So what are the first steps that you would recommend to our viewers that they need to do to learn more about this type of insurance?
I'm a representative of Transamerica, and Transamerica is one of the few companies that offers this type of benefit. So if you know someone that is an advisor, financial advisor with Transamerica, or someone like myself that's appointed to do business with Transamerica, I urge you to kind of contact them and learn more about these particular benefits, because it's a lifesaver.
And do you participate in health fairs and community events? Do you have a local office? Do you come out and do presentations for, say, women's groups? How do you get your word out?
We get our word out doing presentations to local groups. We have a local office in Burlingame at 500 South Airport Boulevard. So we have a local office. We have a weekly presentation that offers more information regarding these particular benefits. And so that's one of the few ways where we get out the word. So in other ways I get out the word is to let family members know, friends, and just kind of spread the message.
And is there a website that you have that people can go on and take a look?
You can go to Transamerica's website, www.transamerica.com. And I also have my website.
Let's give the
Transamerica website. So they just go to www.transamerica.com, and they can provide you more information regarding the.
But say somebody wants to reach you and wants to talk with you about it, because we have to be frank here.
Right.
Most of us are afraid to talk to insurance agents because they're the hardest selling professionals you ever want to encounter.
Yeah, that's true.
And and I'm a businesswoman. I've been a businesswoman in San Francisco for over 40 years.
Okay.
And I will tell you that this is the second month that I've been researching insurance for this long-term health care. And this is the first time that I've heard about living benefits insurance. Not a single agent that I have spoken with over the past 2 months has divulged this kind of information. So why do you think that is?
It's still a new program. It's still a really new program. It didn't officially pass been approved into California until 2011. So it's still new. So I would say over the next 10 years, it'll be everybody know about it. So it's like I said, give it time. It'll be kind of secondhand information.
It'll be standard information.
It'll be part of it. Everybody will have with their life insurance living benefits.
But you're talking about it as if everyone has access to it. But how many people have bought it already? I mean, give me a percentage or some ideas of who's buying it.
I would say on average, I'll say about 25% of people know about it so far. So not that many people know about this particular program yet.
So it's sort of a secret.
Not a secret, but it's like anything, any kind of new program, it'll eventually get around to the masses. A lot of times people don't seek out insurance information.
No,
they kind of run
That's
from
right.
insurance. Yeah,
a lot of people don't. And I mean, please, there's so many different kinds of insurance.
Exactly.
And there's the earthquake insurance, and there's the flood insurance. And if you have earthquake but you don't have flood, then you won't get. That's right.
Renter's insurance, home insurance,
exactly.
Car insurance. We all got insurance for cell phones, everything.
So that's right. You go to Best Buy and you buy something, and you buy a microwave, and they'll sell you an insurance warranty package,
like television, everything
for 2 years if anything happens to it. Or a sofa. I went and bought a sofa at Macy's, and they said if anything happens to it, if your cat scratches it or your dog scratches it or something, we'll replace it. I said, oh yeah. Well, that's going to have to definitely be insurance I'll get. but long-term living benefits insurance is totally different. So what is it that we should look at before we determine that we need it?
Well, you get to first look at your current situation. I encourage anybody to get it. I would think especially people with kids, being young kids, to protect yourself. Because you never know what could happen. People are living a lot longer these days, and people are, would you agree that people are getting sick at a younger age?
Well, I'm not really in the healthcare industry, but you are, right? So do you need a health exam in order to get this insurance?
Well, it depends. With this particular program, any kind of coverage below $250,000 in coverage, it's no medical exam required. Anything above $250,000 in coverage, a medical exam is required.
So we could get a $50,000 package
Exactly.
without a medical exam.
Yeah, without anyone come to your house and drawing blood and the whole shebang and kind of intruding your privacy.
So if I want $1 million policy, though, there's going to be a whole team of people showing up to take my blood.
Yeah, they'd be there for a good while.
Oh, really? There's not an office that we can go to?
Well, usually with an insurance company, they hire like a person that comes out, a contract with different companies to come out and do the medical examination, and it's based on it.
So in other words, they won't take your own doctor's report.
So no, because this one, usually they hire somebody, a business that specifically does medical examination for insurance companies.
A mobile,
exactly. And so
the mobile dog groomers.
Mobile dog groomers.
These are mobile doctors.
Exactly. And so it takes about 15 minutes of your time to kind of go through the medical exam. It's not that. It takes about 10 minutes. They draw blood and they take a urine sample and they submit it to the insurance company. So it's painless. They make it painless as possible.
So if you have a medical marijuana card, you're going to be excluded.
Ugh, that made me tough right there.
Because it's not legal in California yet.
Right.
But in Colorado, it should be fine.
You'd be all right in Colorado.
Or one of the other states.
Right.
So there you have it. If you are interested in the living benefits insurance that's now available, it's been available since 2011. We have Randy Jackson, who is with us to share some of the information that probably a lot of you don't know about, but the motto on my show here is to stay informed. So I think that this is an interesting area, particularly since we're living longer. We might have a responsibility for taking care of a younger brother or sister or a mother or father who has some long-term health care issues. So what is the age group? How old can you be to be able to get this kind of insurance, Randy?
So to the age of 80 years old.
So if you're 79 years old, you can still get this long-term health insurance. What happens at 80?
So at 80, a lot of times companies, they cut off the, that's like the age limit. Certain companies, for us, other companies like Final Expense Insurance, they usually cut off at 85. With this particular company, they cut off at 80 because they figured the average life expectancy, it's right around 80.
So what happens when you turn 80 and you have this insurance? Does it still continue?
It still continues. So it depends.
But you can only apply for it if you're under 80.
Right. So with this particular situation, since it's a term, so with term, it depends on your age. So if you're 75 years old and you wanted a particular program like this, they only offer 10-year term.
So if you're 75, you can get it for 10 years.
Right.
And then what happens at the end of 10 years?
After 10 years, it expires.
The whole insurance program expires.
It expires.
They won't pay out.
After 10 years with term, whenever a term, and say after that 11-year mark, or right after that day after that 10-year expires, it won't pay out.
It won't pay out. So what about if I want something till I'm 100?
Well, I could do it. You're probably looking at final expense. So if it's a situation where you're 85, 82 years old and you wanted some kind of insurance,
right?
So you will have to look at another avenue.
So it's going to be a different kind of insurance.
A different type of insurance.
So it won't be the living benefits insurance.
No, because you're looking at more life expectancy. So you're looking at, for women, the average life expectancy is right around 80 years old, 80, 85 years old.
Is that right? We're only expected to live till 80? That's
85.
not. That's 85. No, that's not good. My grandmother lived to 99.
Well, I mean, you have great genes.
Yes, yes. Because our grandmothers, a lot of our grandmothers and our older relatives, they never had insurance. Or at least not in my world. I don't know about your world.
Well, I mean, my mother had insurance, so it's one of those things where a lot of times people don't think about it. I know my grandmother, my mother had some form of insurance because she didn't want to have the burden put on me. And so, the cost of funerals, cost of even cremations are going up each year. So a lot of times people don't think about those things where, say I don't need any kind of insurance or any kind of final expense insurance. Once the person passes, those bills kind of come due, and it becomes really, really costly. You're looking at the average cost of a funeral. You're looking at right around $15,000 to $20,000.
So that would be not the living benefits. But
Right.
let's get back to the living
Okay,
benefits
okay.
insurance. Then, if you have this insurance
Okay.
and you get sick,
Okay.
what will this insurance cover?
What would they give you a cash benefit?
They send you a check.
It's in your check.
No questions asked. They just send you a check.
Have a doctor's note saying,
you have a doctor's report saying that you're going to be disabled for the next 6 months.
Say doctor's note. So it says, usually, you're looking at strokes, heart attacks, cancer, aneurysm. You get a doctor's note, get a note from your doctor, and you just forward it, give it to your agent, or forward it to the company, and they'll forward the cash benefit to you.
Well, that seems kind of amazing, and it's really hard to believe. So, what would you recommend that people do to compare, for example, say, your company compared to another company? How many different companies are there? What's the competition like?
There's literally a lot of companies there. I mean, it could be overwhelming. So you can easily get online. You could contact your local Transamerica, contact myself, Transamerica Nationwide, Farmers, all the companies that you know of that you see on television, and compare their programs, and just get a quick quote and see what makes more sense for you.
So are there extremely different programs?
For the most part, a lot of programs are similar, but Transamerica is really unique for their term living benefits program. I found that a lot of companies don't offer that particular program, and so that's what is really unique about that particular program.
So if they don't offer something, they're not going to talk about it.
No,
because like I said, I've been researching the long-term health care insurance for months.
Well, a lot of times they tell you it doesn't exist,
and nobody's mentioned a word about this living benefits until Chef Sharon Lee invited me to the Crab Fest and introduced me to you, who happens to be an expert in this field. So we want to thank Randy Jackson for joining us on this show and telling us about the living benefits insurance. And like I said, you should log on and take a look at some of the other companies, but this particular company, Transamerica, is the company that Randy works for. And again, you want to give us the website?
Okay, it's www.transamerica.com. You can log into the website, or you can contact me personally at area code 408-472-5714.
So let's talk a little bit more about what the expenses are. Do the expenses cap out? For example, you say that you would get a check in the mail for your long-term health care, but say it's going to be 2 or 3 years that you're not going to have any income coming in. Does it cap out at a certain amount of money? I mean, is it, if it's $50,000, then you get $50,000 and that's it, right?
Right. So unless you want to increase it, so if you want to, you can always increase your insurance. People often do. Say you initially had a policy for $100,000, and you feel as though, okay, my situation changes.
Right.
And I want to increase it. Maybe you had a kid, or maybe you just feel more you like the program, and you looking at the big picture, you may think, okay, I need to hurry up and get some more in the event that I get sick. So this is more of a program like it's a death benefit, but a lot of times people are looking at, okay, I need this in place of in the event that I get sick.
Well, are there two different insurances, or is this packaged with the death insurance and living benefits?
It's combined.
It is combined.
It's combined.
But can you buy one without the other?
You can. I mean, it won't be living benefit. I also offer regular life insurance.
So then that'll be a regular term.
Regular term.
So only the living benefit can be combined with the end of life insurance.
End of life for is, what you mean living
term.
For is term. So term, when you're talking about living benefits, is mainly what you can collect while you're still living versus collecting the beneficiaries collecting your benefits.
So the key word here is the living benefits.
Exactly.
Now, is that the same as, say, disability insurance that Social Security pays?
It's a little bit different. It's like smaller policies with disability insurance. With this particular program, because disability insurance is based on if you're at work, in the event that you break your ankle or whatever, they'll pay your income. So with this particular program, they'll for a large lump sum of money to you, and plus it acts as a death benefit also. So that's the difference. Also, with this particular program, they'll forward up to 90% of the policy up to you up front, tax free.
And what do they do with the other 10%?
Of the 10%, they keep it as basically
to continue your insurance.
To continue insurance for your burial expenses in the event once you pass.
So it's definitely a combined insurance package.
Exactly. It's more like a bundle.
It's a bundle.
Right.
Like when you go and buy a computer at
like
Best
you go to
Buy.
Costco, you got Costco has everything there. So you got a bundle.
They sure do, don't they?
Everything.
And now it's going to be Citibank, I hear.
Well,
or Citi Visa or something. Instead of the
one-stop
American
shop,
Express.
Huh?
Well, yes. But for insurance purposes, what you want to do, are there any other types of insurance that you can combine with this bundle?
No. For this particular program, Living Benefits is mainly it's a death benefit, but it also covers critical, chronic, and terminal illnesses. So in the event that you have a critical illness such as a heart attack, stroke,
critical, chronic,
and terminal.
So
in the event that, say, unfortunately, the doctor say, okay, you have X amount of months to live.
Yes.
And they'll automatically forward the benefits to you up to 90%.
And so how can these insurance companies actually make money on this? Aren't we betting that we're not going to get sick is what it is, right?
Well,
we're betting against ourselves, saying we're not going to get sick, so I'm going to pay you to watch.
Well, it's almost like car insurance. It's almost like we have car insurance. We hoping you don't get in a car accident.
That's right.
So it's like, but you need it, but you're hoping, okay, hopefully you pay for it. You're hoping you don't get into a car accident.
and also the insurance industry. I mean, you guys are everywhere.
Absolutely.
I mean, just everywhere. Everything's insured. So that is this like when this passed, and you said 2011,
right?
And the reason it passed was because.
Well, I mean, it also passed. Oh, okay, I'm sorry about that. It passed because you got to realize people get living longer, and the cost of long-term care is really expensive. And so whenever you have a situation where you get sick, it's devastating to families. Oftentimes you end up depleting your retirement, your savings account whenever someone gets seriously ill. And so what they did, they put together a program where they allow you to not be in that situation ever again. So it's really up to people to kind of get informed and know about these particular benefits, because it could really prevent you from going through a financial disaster.
So there you have it. Stay informed. We want to thank Randy Jackson, who's joining us for our Finance and Entrepreneur series. Our show airs, the Paula Fiscal Show, at 3:00 p.m. on Sundays, and I also upload it to YouTube. So once again, stay informed.